Hello, welcome back to Planet 40k. So we've got some interesting news for you today. So there's been some leaked images of the army of Renown for the Necrons. So I haven't actually seen what we've got yet, so this is going to be my first time seeing it and I'm going to react to it. So let's get on with what we've got. So first of all, we've got the Annihilation Legion. We do have some restrictions. We can only have destroyer cult units, we can only have flayed ones, and only canoptic plasmacytes. Yep, we expected that. Now all units must be drawn from the same dynasty code, yet we also would expect that too. And all units are going to be losing the command protocols ability. Okay. We're going to have to see how that works out because we've lately kind of relied on our command protocols. Now we've got some benefits. All units are going to be gaining the Annihilation Legion keyword, and we're going to gain access to Warlord Traits and Relics and Stratagems. Cool. Now if your Warlord is included in a Vanguard detachment, the command cost for the detachment has been changed to 0. I believe that's the elite detachment. So yeah, that's going to be virtually free, which kind of makes sense because quite a lot of our elite units are destroyer cult units and the flayed ones too, I guess. Now all of the destroyer cult units within the army gain the Cult of Annihilation ability, see below, and Annihilation Protocols ability. Okay, so let me find that. Cult of Annihilation is there. What is the Annihilation Protocols? Oh, we've got our own protocols. Oh wow. Okay, so there are 6 new protocols. We'll go through that in a moment. That's going to be interesting. So Annihilation Legion flayed ones that have units of 10 or more models gain objective secured. So they're effectively like our troops now, although they are elites, but Vanguard detachment is free, not too bad. Annihilation Legion Hexmark destroyers have the HQ battlefield role instead of elites. That means even more space for more elites. Sweet. For each Scorpic Lord and Locust Lord unit within the detachment, 1 Hexmark destroyer unit can be included in the detachment without taking up a battlefield role. So that either they're going to be HQ models or they're not taking up any slots whatsoever. Not too bad. Okay, so here is the Cult of Annihilation ability that they've all gained. So the first one is the unit never gains a dynastic code. Okay. Each time a model with this ability makes an attack, if that attack is made against a unit that was below starting strength, when the model was selected to shoot or fight, you're going to be adding 1 to the hit rolls. So kind of our new way of getting mine will be done perhaps. And then the next point is each time a model with this ability that makes an attack, making an attack against a unit below half strength, so not full strength, this time half strength, when they're shooting or fighting, they're going to get a +1 to their wound roll. Okay, so they're already re-rolling hit rolls of a 1, they're now potentially having a +1 to their hit roll, and if they've got a Scorpic Lord or Destroyer Lord, they're already getting a re-roll to their wound rolls of a 1 as well, but now they get a +1 to that wound roll. That's actually massive, you know. A +1 to wound could literally be a huge swing in the game. Okay, so next we're on to the Warlord Traits. If the Annihilation module, yeah, we don't need to know that part. Furious Destructor. Each time a Warlord makes an attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 2 additional attacks. Now our Destroyer Lords come with 4 attacks base anyway, but you could end up with more hits than you have actual attacks there. That's not too bad. I mean, you are paying a command point for it, I guess. But that is the only Warlord trait available in this Army of Renown. Now next we've got the Relic options, and we've got the Chariot of the Hierarchs. So this is for the Locust Lord only. Each time an attack is made against the bearer, an unmodified wound roll of a 1, 2 or 3 will fail irrespective of any abilities the weapon or model has. Cool. Each time the bearer piles in or consolidates, it can move an additional 3 inches. An additional 3 inches. So that means that Locust Lord could be actually piling in and consolidating 6 inches. That's quite a lot, you know. And you've pretty much got transhuman physiology on it as well. That's not too bad. I like that one. Next you've got the Nightcull Scythe. This is for the Scorpic Lord this time. The relic replaces the Hyperphase Harvester and has the following profile. So it's strength +2, -4 AP and 3 damage. Now what did the Scorpic Destroyer have previously? I'm just going to double check that. So the stats are exactly the same in fact. +2, -4, 3 damage. Although it was a -1 to hit penalty for the Scorpic Lord. Now there is no penalty. Now there is an additional ability with this relic. So each time an attack is made with this weapon, excess damage it inflicts is not lost. Instead, keep allocating excess damage to another model in the targeted unit until all excess damage has been allocated or the target unit is destroyed. That's pretty decent. If you're pairing that with that Warlord trait that we just spoke about originally, where 6s can score 2 additional hits, if you can get a few of these to go through, damage 3 a pop, even going up against standard 2 wound models, this is actually going to be really good now, so it's just going to keep piling on to the next model. I like that one, that's not too bad either. Now next we've got Mask of Obliteration, sorry. This is for the Hexmark Destroyer. Instead of shooting as normal, it can focus the shots of its disintegrated pistols into a single obliteration beam. Ooh. If it does so, instead of making the attacks of each of the pistols, use the following profile. Obliteration beam, 12-inch range, pistol 1, strength 9, -3 AP, and the damage is D3 +3. And it comes with an ability too, pretty good, let's have a look. Each time the bearer shoots using this profile and a hit is scored, draw a straight line between the closest point of the model's base and the closest point of the base or hull to the closest model within the targeted unit. Make one wound roll against the target unit and make one wound roll against every other unit that the line passes over. It's very similar to the Void Dragon there. Damage D3 plus 3 as well. We don't normally get that in our codex, so I'm quite happy to see some more of that damage in the actual datasheets. Okay, so that's all the relics. Next we're on to the new Annihilation Protocols. This could be interesting. You assign them to each of the 5 battle rounds. Yep. Do it in secret. At the start of each battle round, if any Scorpic Lord or Locust Lord units are on the battlefield, the Annihilation Protocol that you've assigned to that battle round becomes active for your army until the end of that battle round. Cool. Each Annihilation Protocol is made up of 2 directives. So it's kind of the same. So if the battle lasts for more than 5 battle rounds, then until the end of the battle, whichever Annihilation Protocol was active in the 5th battle round, it's going to remain active. Okay. So let's go through these Annihilation Protocols. So number 1, Protocol of Swift Murder. Directive number 1. So each time an attack is made against this unit, if the unit did not remain stationary this battle round, the unit receives the benefits of light cover. Or directive number 2, the unit is eligible to perform a heroic intervention as if they were a character. Having that army wide could be pretty decent. Number 2, Protocol of Killing Surge. Directive 1, add 2 inches to the movement characteristics of all models in the units. Okay, so we've got quicker destroyers. Or number 2, the unit is eligible to make a charge in a turn in which it fell back. So now all of a sudden, army wide, we're like Canoptic Wraiths. Cool. Number 3, Protocol of Dread Strike. Directive number 1, each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds the target. That's going to be pretty decent with flayed ones, you know. We've got a lot of attacks with our flayed ones. Unmodified hit rolls of a 6, auto wounding. Doesn't matter what the toughness is, it could be going up against a knight. We're automatically wounding. That's pretty big. Wow, okay. Directive 2, each time a model in the unit makes a range attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 adds 1 to the attack's wound rolls. Wound rolls? So I presume that's more for the Locust Destroyers, maybe the Locust Heavy Destroyers as well, but you don't get as many attacks with those guys, whereas the standard Locust Destroyers, you get a fair amount of attacks with the Ghost Cannons in particular, when you're already strength 6 anyway, so that means you're probably wounded on the 2+ there. Number 4, Protocol of Undying Gaze. Directive number 1, each time a model in this unit makes a range attack that targets a unit within half range, the target does not receive the benefits of cover. Okay, whatever. Directive number 2, if the unit is performing an action, it can still make its attack with ranged weapons without the action failing. Cool, so they brought that one back into the Annihilation Protocols. That was actually one of my favourite ones out of the Command Protocols, so I'm quite glad to see that within this one. Number 5, Protocol of Perfect Destruction. Directive 1, add 1 to the charge rolls made for the unit. Okay. I suppose we can't select the Novuk Dynasty code when selecting this Army of Renown, so maybe that's a way of getting that back within this list. Directive 2, each time a model in the unit piles in or consolidates, it can move an additional 3 inches. Hold on a minute. What was that Locust Lord's relic? Yeah. So the Locust Lord's personal relic, each time the bearer piles in or consolidates, it can move an additional 3 inches. And then the Protocol of Perfect Destruction, Directive 2, when the unit piles in and consolidates, it can move an additional 3 inches. Let's move on to number 6. So Protocol of Immortal Warrior. Directive 1, add 1 to the toughness characteristics of all models in this unit. Army-wide toughness 6, I'll have some of that. Directive 2, improve the armor save characteristics of models in the unit by 1. Can't go beyond the 2+, and invuln saves are not affected. Wow, so we're going to have a 2+ armor save army-wide. I don't know what's better there. Better toughness or better armor save? Because you can already get a cover save, which isn't going to help with a 2+ armor save. But yeah, both of them are pretty decent options there. Wow, and then we've got a load of stratagems as well. So if your army is from the Annihilation Legion, you've got access to these stratagems. Yep. Swift Dismemberment. 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the charge phase. Select 1 destroy cult unit within your army. And until the end of the turn, that unit is eligible to charge in a turn in which it advanced. Wow. We now have access to a first turn charge there. Most of our melee destroyer units are already pretty fast. They're moving 8 inches or 10 inches with the Ophidian destroyers, in fact. They can then advance up to 6 inches and then make a charge move. That's pretty mad. Okay, I like that one. Now the next one is Hyperphase Impalement. It's 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when Ophidian destroyers are selected to fight. Until the fight is resolved, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, rules that ignore wounds cannot be used. So no feel, no pain saves. Also, those rules that cap the amount of wounds you can lose in a given phase they also no longer apply when you're using this stratagem. Wow, okay, that's also pretty good. Going up against Abaddon the Despoiler, going up against Grasgog, even going up against, say, the Nightbringer. You can pop this out. They now cannot say I can only lose 3 wounds in a given phase because this literally says rules that ignore wounds cannot be used. Okay, moving on to the next one. This one is 2 command points this time. It's Efficient Disintegration. Use this stratagem on your Locust Destroyers or Locust Heavy Destroyers. When they're selected to shoot until the end of the phase, each time a model in the unit makes an attack with a Gauss Cannon or Gauss Destructor, add 1 to the damage roll for the attack. Oh, okay, so the Gauss Destructors are already 3d3 damage, so that would imply that it's 3d3 plus 1 damage. That gets really complicated. So now they've got a potential damage outlay of 10. But that's 2 command points, that's quite pricey. That's probably better off going on the Locust Destroyers as opposed to the Locust Heavy Destroyers. Because the Locust Destroyers with the Gauss Cannons are already d3 damage, so d3 plus 1 is pretty decent. On to the next one, which is either 1 or 2 command points depending on... Let's see what it depends on, I don't even know. So Lurking Murderers. To use this stratagem in the fight phase on the Flayed Ones unit that's wholly within an area terrain feature. Until the end of the phase, each other model that makes an attack, you can reroll your wound rolls. If the unit contains 11 or more models, the stratagem will cost you 2 command points, otherwise it's going to be 1. So you can be rerolling your wound rolls. And what did we say earlier about the Flayed Ones? There was a protocol, wasn't there? Protocol of Dread Strike, Directive 1, unmodified hit rolls over 6 automatically wound. Okay, so it doesn't really synergize, but that's still pretty good, being able to just reroll your wound rolls. Now, you do have to be within an area terrain in order to use that. How often are you going to do that? Don't know. Okay, next we've got Murderous Demise. It's 2 command points again, so another pricey one. This time you're using it on a character model within the fight phase. When they've not fought that fight phase and they've been destroyed, instead of using any other abilities that trigger when the model is destroyed, do not remove the model from play. After the attacking model has finished making all of their attacks, the destroyed model can either shoot as if it's their shooting phase, or fight as if it was their fighting phase. After resolving the model's attacks, you can then remove the model. How does that work in the shooting phase if you're within engagement range and you've only got an infantry character? Can you just shoot? I suppose so. It doesn't really say you can't, but I'll have to come back to that one. I'm not really sure how that one works. Next one, we've got Weaponized Bodies for 2 command points again. These are getting pricey. So you use this stratagem in the charge phase when a destroyed cult unit finishes its charge move. Select an enemy unit within engagement range of the destroyed cult unit. For each model that this destroyed cult unit is within engagement range with, roll a number of d6 equal to the model's wounds characteristics. The enemy unit will suffer 1 mortal wound to a maximum of 6. Okay, so if you've got a unit of say 6 Scorpet destroyers and all 6 of them are within engagement range of the unit, that's going to be 6 times 3 wounds because it's got 3 wounds apiece. That's 18 dice to play with. Any 5+ rolls are going to be mortal wounds. On average, that's going to be 6 mortal wounds right there. You can literally remove a character before you've even got to fight. And we've run out of battery. Let's try that again. Where were we? So we were talking about the mortal wound. So in fact, it doesn't even need to be Scorpet destroyers. It could even be Locust destroyers. I know they don't fight, but they've also got 3 wounds apiece. If you can get 6 Locust destroyers in engagement range of an enemy unit in the charge phase after finishing their charge, so yeah, you can literally throw out an average 6 mortal wounds. Wow, that one's pretty good. Might be one of the best ones so far. Okay, so the next one we've got the Canoptic Reinforcement. It's 1 command point. You select a Canoptic Plasmacyte unit from your army that has been destroyed. Set this unit up again anywhere on the battlefield 3 inches of friendly destroyer cult units and not within engagement range of enemy models. You can only use this stratagem once. I mean, okay, if you really do rely on Canoptic Plasmacytes, then yeah, why not? You can bring a free Canoptic Plasmacyte back into play. They're 15-point models. You do have to wait for that Plasmacyte to actually have died. But yeah, if you rely on it, I suppose it's okay. Not for me, that one. And then I believe we're on to the final one, which is a Moment of Clarity for 2 command points again. Another pricey one. So this stratagem is used in the command phase. You select an Annihilation Legion unit from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, the unit has objective secured. That's pretty good. I know we lose the dynasty code, so we can't have the Nihilak dynasty, we can't have Eternal Conquerors, but we've got the option of being able to turn this on and off army-wide when we please as well. I mean, okay, it is 2 command points, but if you see an opportunity to take an objective, you can do, although it has to be done in your command phase, so you've got to slightly pre-plan. But yeah, that one's not too bad. In fact, all the stratagems are pretty usable. The command protocols, I'm going to have to look into those again because there was quite a lot to read there. But some of those look really powerful. The relics look pretty decent. There were some interesting ones there. And the Warlord Trait as well, I quite like that, having additional hits. I don't know how competitive that will be, but at first glance it looks okay. And then just the rules themselves looks pretty decent as well for the Cult of Annihilation. So overall, how do I feel about this? I think it's a good thing. There's more ways to play Necrons. That's always a good thing, isn't it, really? Now, I did notice that we've not been given any invulnerable saves for our destroyer units. Now, I don't actually know how that would work, to be honest with you. Why would a destroyer cult unit from the Annihilation Legion deserve an invuln save, as opposed to one that isn't from this Army of Renown? So why would they gain it? Maybe you could argue for a feel no pain save, because they're just more hell-bent on destruction, perhaps. Maybe a 6+ feel no pain save army-wide, that could have been pretty cool. But overall, I'm quite pleased. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I can't wait to try it. Obviously, we've not tried this yet, so we haven't play tested anything. This could be utter garbage for all we know. But at first glance, I think it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to digest all this information off camera, maybe get a few games in with the Army of Renown, and then come back to you with some sort of tactical video, a little bit more in depth and some sort of combinations and synergy on how to use this Army of Renown. But that's all from me today, guys. I just thought I'd share this video, bring the information to your screens. So yeah, other than that, all that's left to say, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.